Welcome to the Empowered by Love retreat, the self-empowerment to create and embody the new consciousness. I am Yara Atlantica Miller, the soul name of Janet. Here's a quick story of why my name has changed again. I'm collecting all my soul aspects that are important for me to embody in this very special incarnation. This lifetime is totally shifting humanity into heart-centered living and creating a higher consciousness human, one who embodies their divine essence and integrates it into our human vessel. The Homo luminous is what we are becoming. And how do we do this? This retreat will open us to new ways of being, a famous song of 1965, which was sung by Dionne Warwick and written by Burt Bacharach, said, "What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little of." Truer words could not be sung. Our world is going through so many shifts right now. We are looking at different views coming in from all sides and areas. People are being pushed to pick a side, and families in many relationships are breaking up. We need so much love right now. So that's why I created the Empowered by Love retreat, to take the time to feel what's in your heart. It's time to take a breath and gift yourself this time to reconnect with our hearts. Holiday season is revving up, and soon we can get swallowed up in preparations, lots of doing. Right now is our time to be connected to our hearts and remember the sweetness and peace it can bring us. Today, our delightful and insightful guest is Marcia Wade. Welcome, Marcia. I am so thrilled you are here today.
Thank you, Janet. I'm so thrilled to be here with you.
Marcia, you are so insightful. Your astrological insight and wisdom is so incredible of what you see happening in our skies and how you connect that with and empower us through the love that I feel when you bring the information through. It's just beautiful. So let me tell you a little more about Marcia. Marcia has been talking and listening to the stars since childhood. As a 40-year student of astrology, that conversation is still going on, and is the founder of, and Marcia is the founder of Star Sister Astrology. She works with clients around the world, both one-on-one and with couples and families. Marcia also loves teaching and leading small groups and writing. Her special interests include the transformative presence of the cosmic feminine in our lives, our world, and our birth charts, and the role of astrology in the evolution of consciousness throughout the universe, including on planet Earth. Amazing, Marcia. I love this, the way you wrote that. I mean, it's so insightful and it's so exciting. I mean, you just make astrology like such another level for me. I love it. So thank you and welcome for being here today.
Thank you, Janet. I always love being with you. You're just love in action. It's wonderful to be with you. I know we all feel that.
Thank you, Marcia. I'm receiving. I receive, and thank you so much. So, I love when you say you're a 40-year student of astrology, and as a child, you had a fascination with the stars. So just give us a short synopsis of how you found astrology and how it continues to be such a passion and in your life. And it's created such a true love relationship between you and the stars.
Well, it's interesting that for someone, I would literally wake up in the middle of the night as a child and stand on my bed. We had those one of those 60s ranch style houses. The windows were high.
Yeah.
I always wanted to live in an old house where the windows, you could just stand there and look, but we didn't live in a house like that. So I would get up in the middle of the night, stand on my bed, look out the window, and just, it was silent, but I was talking to the stars and I was listening. I knew they were talking to me too. But yet, I didn't know, I don't know how I got all through the 60s and the 70s without really having an encounter with astrology until I was a graduate student. And my advisor one morning came bursting into my tiny little cubbyhole office and she said, "Marcia, I did something this weekend and I'm telling you, you've got to do this." She'd had her astrology chart read. like in a town here in Atlanta where I live, but at the time I was living in a tiny little university town in Alabama. It was a 3-hour drive to Atlanta, but the next weekend I was in my car and on my way. And what this man told me amazed me. I mean, I could literally, as I was sitting there listening to him, it was like click, click, click. So many things for the first time made sense. And so when before I left the little Daily Planets Astrology Center, I made a vow. I mean, I knew it. I can still remember that moment like it was yesterday. And the vow was, I'm going to learn everything I can about how he could just tell me all of that. And every day since, there has not been one day gone by that I haven't in some way been studying astrology. And I'm still learning because we're talking about the universe, which is infinite and which really is nested into a multiverse. I mean, one lifetime doesn't even begin to be enough, to learn it all. I didn't know that back in 1982. But so for a couple of years, I was like reading books everywhere I'd go. Any bookstore I'd go into, I'm going right to the astrology section to see, do they have any books I haven't read yet? But I finally got to a point where I knew I needed a teacher to help me put it all together. And this is when I began to have a sense, whoa, I have this is important connection for me, because I looked up at the sky. I still remember this too. And I wasn't really in the habit then of talking to the sky. And I said, I need a teacher. If I don't have a teacher, I can't learn anything else. And already I knew that learning astrology was like oxygen for me. 2 weeks later, this is a small provincial town. A friend says to me, hey, did you hear about the astrologer who just moved back here from Portland, Oregon? And I literally got chill bumps. I was like, whoa, no. And so he offered a class. Of course, I signed up. First few sessions, the whole room was full of students. By the end, because astrology is kind of complicated.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot to learn and remember. By the last class, there were like 3 people left, and I was one of them. And I ended up studying with him for several years. He literally kind of opened my head up, poured in everything he knew, and I was off and running. So I've had the big turning points in my relationship with astrology. It's always been clear the sky was involved.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
such a great story. See, the universe provides. It was obviously your natural flow. You were already aligned with what you were meant to do.
Yeah, right. And didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Which is often how it is. Our conscious minds, they're very important, but they're not the whole picture, and they don't have the whole picture. But that doesn't mean there isn't a whole picture that's bigger and more wonderful than we could have thought up on our own.
Wow. So powerful. I know, because I've had readings with you, and I just tell everyone who's listening, Marcia's readings are absolutely incredible. And and she does so much more. So it's beautiful. So you also mentioned your biography says you have that special interest in the cosmic feminine in our lives and our world. And how does this cosmic force play a part in empowering us in doing it through love?
Well, the force and I call it the cosmic feminine, but in some of the oldest wisdom texts on our planet, the Vedas, of the Hindu tradition, in some of the earliest Vedas, this cosmic feminine force, Shakti, they call it in India, is described as the female body of the universe. I mean, this is ancient, and every culture has had some expression of the divine feminine energy
Hmm.
that is part of reality, part of the universe. So it's all, and in astrology, in our solar system, the two primary carriers of this cosmic feminine energy are the moon and Venus. They're the two celestial bodies who are closest to the earth, closest to our embodied experience, closest to our bodies. You know, we all come into this world through a feminine human, a woman. And in cultures around the world, it's women also who are the death doulas when it's time for us to leave this world. So this feminine energy is close to us in the solar system. It's close to us in our lived experience. And astrology tells us it's also close to us in our own inner lives.
Hmm.
The moon is the power of our emotions, of our emotional intelligence, of our intuition, our dreaming wisdom. It's the way we nurture ourselves, the way we receive and give nurturing. Venus is the life-changing power of who and what and why we love, and how we magnetize that into us. Those are that Venus and the moon are the primary carriers, and they're always showing us, both of them, but especially the moon, because the sun is changing so much. I didn't realize that where I'm sitting, I'm right in the path of the sun.
That's
Um,
nice. You look beautiful.
and the sun, of course, is the reason that we can even be alive on this planet. We
Mhm.
literally eat this light that gives us life, thanks to the miracle of photosynthesis. But the moon, who's 400 times smaller than the sun, exactly,
Hmm.
but she's also 400 times closer to the earth. So when we look up in the sky, the moon and the sun look like they're about the same size, and
Hmm.
they are the two without whom we couldn't live here on this planet. And the moon is always showing us, if we watch her cycles, she's showing us what we need to do to come into alignment with life.
Mhm.
And each cycle, she's showing us that we feel so connected to her, because she really is, she is a part of us. And she's showing us when it's time to go within at the end of the cycle, before she conceives a new energy, a new way to be alive, and when it's time to bring it. Like we're talking on the morning tonight, the moon will be a very powerful full moon. And that's really the time to bring our medicine, to let go of what we don't need so we can go to the next level. So this feminine energy is, we see it all around us. I mean, many, many, many traditions have seen the earth as our mother, a feminine being. And she too is showing us always how to be a stable space so that we can be constantly transforming.
Hmm.
And not to fear the process of change and transformation, but to see that it's actually empowering us and renewing us. As we let go of what we no longer need, we open ourselves and free our energy to attract what we do want, what we're ready to experience and to be.
Do you find that change is a feminine energy?
You know, I feel that change is the dharma of the universe. It's a very dynamic place. And I feel that responding to change, receiving change, is the feminine energy.
Mhm.
It's the way we realize, I feel like the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, are in everybody and everything. But I feel like the yang energy that we've called masculine, it's like, let's make it happen. Let's do something. where the feminine energy is like the response that says, what can I create with this? How can I respond to this?
Mm,
It's more receptive and responsive.
mm,
And both are part of us, and both are vitally necessary. But I feel the feminine is the part we've underappreciated, and the masculine is the part we've overappreciated. So we're so focused on go, 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 do, you know, and so little we focus on rest,
mhm,
reflect, receive. Receiving is a feminine superpower. And
mhm.
we're kind of starved for that in our world now. We've gone so far to the other extreme.
That is so true, isn't it? And
Mhm.
like I said in my intro, that's why I wanted this to come through to right now, because we're just needing it so much, because there's so much controversy and, upheaval in the world around us, that we need to center ourselves and to come back to ourselves, which,
So true.
yeah, it's so great. It's so important. So, and I love how you also said, how do you see the role of astrology in the evolution of consciousness playing out right now through the universe?
So I see this in two ways. And one way is in, the way that astrology is always, the planets are there in the skies around us. And the astrological, the founding insight of astrology is that we're not separate from the universe.
Mhm.
We're not just stuck here on a big rock, kind of, you know, floating through space.
Yeah.
No, we all know in our hearts. Even when I was a child, I knew. That's why I would wake up and, just stare for hours in my mind, talking with the stars, because I knew somehow I was connected to them. And I think we all have in our bones the awareness that we are connected. We're part of life. We are part of something that's bigger than we are. So the idea of astrology is that from the moment we take our first breath, what we're receiving is the pattern of energy in the universe. It
Mhm.
becomes part of who we are. We know we're made of star stuff.
Yes.
There's no way that we are separate from the universe. It's just this mindset we have been developing that we are separate, that we are isolated, that we are alone, that it is all up to us, that if we don't make it happen, it won't happen. We forget that we don't have a thing to do with the sun
Mhm.
rising every morning. We don't have a thing to do with the beautiful autumn leaves that are falling outside my window this very moment. There's a greater intelligence at work. So astrology is it's a map of our relationship with this intelligence, and we can look at the history of astrology to understand how our culture has seen the universe and its planetary energies. We can see how we've seen and understood our place in the universe in different ways at different times. But also in the now moment, we can see how astrology can show us what is possible as our relationship with the universe shifts. So when we sit, because we know we're connected, when we see planets are coming into very rare alignments,
Mhm.
we know it's time for a shift. And that shift starts in our consciousness, which is up here in our minds, but it's also right here in our hearts. There's a consciousness of our throats. You know, we're more than just these minds. We're connected to the consciousness of the universe.
Yeah. Wow. Profound. So you mentioned we're getting into some alignments. So we are, like, as we record, we're on the eve of the micro full moon and the partial lunar eclipse, which is coming on today and tomorrow. And then there's another one, like we're in an eclipse season. And,
Yes, we
and
are. These are very powerful eclipses, even though, you know, usually we think of a partial lunar eclipse as being not as potent as a total lunar eclipse. But this is the longest partial lunar eclipse that we've had in centuries, almost 600 years, since 1440. And this is the other thing about astrology. Things happen in cycles. Next year, 2022, is going to be a super powerful year for the whole world, but especially those of us in the US, because Pluto, a planet out at the edge of the solar system who activates the process of transformative change, is coming back to the exact spot that he was at when the United States was born. The US is having a Pluto return.
wow.
We won't have that as individuals because we don't live long enough, but we don't need astrology to tell us. We know, we're all very well aware that this country is going through a very intense metamorphosis.
Mhm.
We're going through a death and rebirth of the US, but 2022 is the peak of it. It won't be the end of it, but it is the peak of it. It's going to last all year long. And so, you know, a big part of how we understand what the planets are saying is we look at their cycles and what happened the last time this happened. So the last time we had a lunar eclipse, a partial lunar eclipse that was as long as this is, was 1440.
Wow.
That was when enslaved Africans were first brought to Europe.
Oh, wow.
And that is when the great civilization of the Mayas split into two warring states.
Wow.
So a lunar eclipse is like an extra powerful full moon. And this is the longest one that we've had in almost 600 years. And it will be 600 years before we have another one as long as this. So this is civilizational. This, what is happening, and not just on this day, but at this time, these two eclipses that are happening, this one and then the next one will be on December 4th, they're opening the gate to 2022. And these lunar eclipses, they move through like tides. They're eclipsing out what is finished and complete. So we can, if we are, you know, nobody's coming to make anything happen. We're the ones who are here. We can open to receive the energy. We can say, let my life be a space where what is finished can leave so that what is new can come in. And, you know, when it comes to energy, we don't live in a democracy. The people whose energy is the most coherent, the most aligned, that is more powerful than the energy of the scattered, overstimulated, overextended way that we all find ourselves in. That's another reason I think we need astrology to help us kind of snap out of it, at least for part of each day. And remember, yes, you know, we have lives and responsibilities and lots on our plate, but we're cosmic beings. We came here for a reason. And all the rest is really kind of noise and clutter compared to that. Why we came here at this time, which is like, it's an unprecedented time astrologically. So I forgot where I even started. I went down such
We
a,
talked about, well, I got you onto eclipses because I
oh
wanted
yeah, oh, the eclipses, right. So being present and aligned with the greater intelligence
Mhm.
is astrology can remind us when it's a lunar eclipse,
Mm,
you need to come into presence, or a
mm,
solar eclipse, or even, you know, I'm not going to say just because every new and full moon is important, but the eclipses are destiny gates and destiny realignments.
wow.
And so this time of November turning into December, as the gates begin to swing open at the winter solstice, this
Mhm.
is a time of destiny realignment for all of us.
This is not a small thing. Yeah,
Oh.
that's incredible. Ooh, yeah. So so what about the total moon eclipse that's coming in December 4th? How do you see that one?
So
Because we can talk about it because people, it will be past, but still
we'll be integrating this. These
still be
eclipses are,
integrating.
they last for 6 months, the effects, you know. So
Yes.
just because it happens on December 4th, but we can't say on December 5th, okay, that's done, back to normal. We'll be processing. And
Okay.
if a lunar or solar eclipse, there are two ways that we know it's going to be really powerful.
Mhm.
And one is the area of the planet where it's visible is always going to be powerfully affected. And the entire, all of North America and much of South America will see the lunar eclipse
Wow.
tonight. So we know this is the part of the world, you know, where on the collective level will all be affected the most. But the other way is we look at this eclipse tonight is going to be in 27 degrees of Taurus. So if you have planets or placements near that degree in your birth chart, if you're a Taurus sun or a Taurus moon or a Scorpio sun or a Scorpio moon, you're really going to be feeling it. We'll all feel it, but an eclipse can be life-changing. It's not the eclipse, you know, things happen around an eclipse that can be life-changing. So
Mhm.
it's always good to carve out time to be present,
Mhm.
really listen to ourselves. What are we sensing? What are we feeling? Um, at an eclipse. The one on December 4th is a total solar
Mm.
eclipse.
Right.
That is when the moon moves across the face of the sun and turns off just for a few minutes, just for a few seconds. But when that light, our sun, goes out, even for a few seconds, we don't have to know it's happening. We know our our emotional intelligence knows, our dreaming wisdom knows, our intuition knows, the space on which our atoms float knows when the sun goes off.
Hmm.
When we don't have access to that light source, because there is nothing on this planet that could live without that light. Our lives literally depend on it. And that is why a total solar eclipse is so powerful. It's like we have rebooted the computer. We've rebooted the life system on the planet and our connection with it.
Hmm.
And yes, we are powerful and sovereign beings, but we are alive here because of a larger life system, that of our Earth Mother, that of our sun and the whole solar system. And so these eclipses are times, it's like the cosmic piano tuner is coming and he's retuning each one of us to the way forward, the good future for all of us. Our purpose is getting aligned with the bigger purpose of the earth, the solar system, and the universe at
Mhm.
these eclipses. So they're very, very powerful. Generally, It's good to be as flexible as we can schedule wise. I really struggle with that as an
I know.
astrologer because those are my busiest times. But there are also the times when, if we're not present,
Mhm.
if we can't be centered, if we aren't open to our connection with life, they can be very chaotic times
Mm. Mhm.
because so much power is coming through.
Wow.
Also, the solar eclipse on December 4th is going to be exactly on the identity point, the dawn point of the chart of the United States. This eclipse
Mm.
is a reset, a reboot for the US. And I feel like it's no coincidence that it's coming just before we enter into the year that's all about the peak of this process of metamorphosis that we're going through. We're kind of we're beginning, we're getting ready to begin even today with this lunar eclipse.
Mhm. It's so powerful to understand what you're saying and how much it does affect us. I mean, I think people look at astrology as sometimes just sort of like, oh, it's fun to read your horoscope, blah, blah, blah. But look at the depth and look at the meaning you can bring to it, connecting all of history to the present moment and what it's doing with us right now, and
Yeah,
how it reflects on what we've been through and what we have approaching now that's available to us.
right.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
And of
amazing.
course, the other idea of here for us as individuals is that when we understand, it's like the energy weather. If when we understand kind of where the winds are blowing, we can align with that. We can set the sails of our own lives, so we're going with the current. We're not trying to fight the current, but we're going with it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I heard this quote a few times lately is millionaires don't follow astrology, but billionaires do. And isn't that interesting? Because they know something that we all don't know. So, you know, um, so many people that are very, very wealthy follow astrology. Now, you would not think that because you think it's too airy fairy or something, and it is not. They totally guide their life, like you're saying, through the emotional, the energy weather of it. And now that you just mentioned that, I love those words. That is amazing.
Yeah,
That is amazing. I mean, I couldn't help but throw that in because I've heard that line so many times. I'm like, why do I keep hearing that? It's just so interesting. So I know you have some information I mean, something beautiful you're bringing through your about special words that you want to help us with for remembering 2022. Do you want to talk
yeah,
about it?
I do, and they relate very much, all
Mhm.
of them, as I was thinking when I was listening to you, to your question about the cosmic feminine and what is it? Because I think the cosmic feminine is deeply connected to our ability to be present, to
Mhm.
really be here now, because being is the superpower of the cosmic feminine that's in all of us. And so, we all know, and you were saying when we began, our world is in such a in the process of such deep, massive, very intense shift. And I wanted to offer a few words. I have six because 2022 is two plus two. That's a six in numerology, the energy of the year. So I came up with six words that I feel if we can just hold on to these six words and their energies, we can come into flow with the powerful. It takes power, a lot of power, to change something as big as the world. It takes
Mhm.
a lot of power to change something as big as a life. And
Mhm.
we have tremendous power available to us now. But so if we're fighting it, we're going to have tremendous challenges. But if we can flow with it, we are moving, we are being held and supported by it. So I felt like these 6 words, which I often think of myself, I feel like they're our super spells for 2022,
Mhm.
because all words are spells. We
Mhm.
are speaking our truth into the world, and the universe hears that, responds to the vibration of our truth, and helps align and configure, uses our vibration to bring to us what it is we're calling in. We're part of the process. We're not just sitting around waiting for something good to show up. We're partnering with the universe. So these words, I feel like, for the astrology of 2022 are kind of super spells. And the first one is slow.
Mm.
We need to we need to give ourselves time every single day when we slow down.
Mhm.
Even if we just slow down for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
that's enough. And part of the reason we need to develop our slowing down muscle, that 2022 is beginning with the planet Venus, the power of what we love, and also who rules love in all its forms, abundance in all its forms, and beauty and creativity in all its forms. When 2022 begins, Venus is going to be retrograde. She's not charging forward, she's going back. She's releasing everything that she doesn't need anymore. It's not, it's all used up. So she's slowing down. So we start the year on a slow note, and then we're going to end the year with Mars retrograde.
Mhm.
Mars is our go energy. He's like, our drive, our motivation, and the way we move towards what we want.
Mhm.
He goes retrograde less than any other planet. He's like, every man I've ever been involved with, my partner would drive around in a circle for an hour before he would stop and ask someone, how do we get there? When I was married, my husband would do anything to avoid turning. We're not going back. I don't care what we left. We'll buy it when we get there. Mars, the planet, is just like that. He hates to slow down, turn around, and go back. But that's what he's going to be doing by the end of 2022. So we're starting slow and we're ending slow. That tells us there's a lot of things coming up that we're not going to be able to quickly move through. So let's start practicing right now. Slow down. And you
Mhm.
know what happens? When we take a deep, slow, long breath, when we hold it for a long time and then exhale as slowly as we can, we bring our vagus nerve into alignment, the one that relaxes us, centers us,
Mhm.
grounds us. Um, so, we'll have a lot calmer year if we remember to go slow, even if it's just for a few minutes, but really as often as we can, slow it down. We'll be glad.
Mhm.
And then the next word is something that I've talked about already a lot, but it's just a release,
Mhm.
to let go of what's not working,
Mhm.
to release what we don't really want,
Mhm.
to let go of what's too complicated. Just let it go. And that's one of the superpowers of the moon and Venus, of the cosmic feminine. But whenever Pluto is in the building that is our reality, we know it's time for deep release,
Mhm.
deep surrender, so that we can empower ourselves. One of the things that we want to let go of are things that disempower us.
Mhm.
Too much time, too much TV, too many screens, too much caffeine, too much doing is not good for us, you know? So releasing what we don't need and don't want. Then the third word is inhabit. It's
Mm.
remember to inhabit our body, to inhabit the moment, and remembering that we are in a body. To let ourselves fully come into the body is a great way to come into the now. And the reason for this is
Mm.
that Pluto and Venus and Uranus are all spending all or much of the year. Uranus and Pluto are spending the whole year in the earth signs of Taurus and Capricorn. And
Mm.
these are signs that are the earth signs are connected to the body. The body is our connection
Yeah.
with the earth. So by coming into the body, we connect with our own authentic genius, Uranus, the liberator, the awakener. He's in the sign of the body. We connect with our own authentic brilliance when
Wow.
we connect with our body
Hmm.
here. So we want to listen to our body, and not only when it's tired. We want to give ourselves
Hmm.
beautiful scents. You know, we want to it's a great time now and all through next year to explore new and different essential oils, and a great time to um, use our voice with chanting, toning, singing, to make music of all kinds, to give ourselves beautiful sounds and tones. It is a fabulous time to surround ourselves with the colors that give us joy, um, to taste food that is not only nutritious and nourishing, but delicious.
Yeah.
It's not a year to just go for, you know, quick, bland thing. No. And the reason is by coming into the body, we awaken, you know, all of our physical senses. They are archives of information from the earth
Mm.
and from throughout the universe. So
Right.
we become more present, more alive, more awakened, um, when
Wow.
we fully and let ourselves fully inhabit the body, getting enough rest,
Mm.
you know, remembering to eat the foods that will nourish us and taste and give us pleasure. Um, then the fourth word is to open.
Mm.
Open our hearts, open our minds. And this is because throughout, for most of 2022, Jupiter will be in the sign of Pisces, and
Mhm.
Neptune is there for all of 2022. And Neptune will be leaving Pisces in a couple of few years, and then he won't be back in our lifetimes or our children's lifetimes. It'll be over a century before he comes back. And Neptune and Jupiter are the two, the ancient and the modern ruler of the sign Pisces, that is unlike every other sign in the zodiac. We can think of all the other zodiac signs as these mighty rivers of energy, and they all empty into the last sign, which is Pisces. It's like a great cosmic ocean, and
Wow.
it holds everything that ever has been and everything that ever will be. It's the part of the zodiac where cycles end, great cycles come to an end, and new cycles are born and gestated. It's a sign of compassion, of creative inspiration, and of direct mystical connection. And these two planets, who represent the essence of Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune, are doing something that happens only once every 13 years. They're coming together to create a new seed, a new way to open the heart, to love and compassion, a new way to connect with the great mystery that made us, with a new way to be creative and express the creativity of life and love. It's only once every 13 years that Jupiter and Saturn open our hearts in this new way. But it's been since 1843 that they have conjoined in Pisces. So this is a very rare and powerful invitation from the universe. And when we remember the word open, we remember to receive it. Because otherwise, if we stay in normal operating mode, we could just rush through it and miss the whole thing. We have to open to receive the incredible gift of a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. And I think we're going to feel it, moving through our world like a beautiful, inspiring, golden wave of energy. And going along with that is the word believe. Believe in the power of the unseen. We're taught to trust what's visible, but the most precious, priceless, and creative things in the universe are things that are not visible to the outer eye. So we want to believe in the power of what we cannot see so that we can deeply receive it into our hearts and radiate it out into the world. Because that's going to be more powerful next year than we've ever experienced. We've never experienced Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces.
Wow. Yeah, it feels like it's a lot of trust. Like we have to move into that trust, which is so hard right now.
It is.
Like the hardest thing.
Yes.
So much is falling apart. So how do you do that when the whole world is changing and not going to be anything we've been living with the last, 50, 60, 70 years, whatever, 80, 100 years. It's like we're just changing. Wow.
And that leads to the last word, which is connect. And when I say connect, I'm really meaning to connect with the source of life, which we have a spark of that source within us, as you well know. And we are connected to this amazing transformational being, the earth, who shelters us and provides us. And we are also connected in every moment to the heart of the universe, to that great central sun. We're never disconnected, only in our awareness. It's only our awareness that can be disconnected, but our awareness is powerful. So when we remember to connect, we access a much deeper truth than just what our overstimulated, minds in overdrive, overdoing, overstressed, this overstressed reality, we open to something that's deeper than that, deeper and truer in us and around us.
Wow. Those are powerful words. Those are like such huge words of empowerment. Like we're talking about empowerment by love. And this energy is all connected to love because it's telling us to trust, and trust is connected to love. And
Yes.
oh my goodness, everything that you brought through, is just incredible. What a beautiful understanding. It was such a gift that you brought that to us, because you've given us like an empowerment by showing us these words and allowing us to feel the depth of what you shared, because we would never connect all that when we get going in our life. We would never think to look at that or even appreciate it.
I think that's the great thing about challenge. My mom used to say, I think this is in Shakespeare, sweet are the uses of adversity. And when she would say that and I was growing up, I would think, really? But as I have a few years on me now, I'm starting to see what she meant, because we know that transformative times are beautiful times, but they challenge us. We can't stay still, but that makes it, then we have to connect more deeply, because when everything's in a status quo state, or seems to be, because really the status quo is kind of an illusion and kind of a pretend. But when we can't pretend, we have to have something deeper to hang on to. And that's when we really have to discover that we're so much more magical than we really have let ourselves believe. I do want to say that I did put together for your community, Janet, that I want to offer is some key trends astrologically for 2022, and some key times of energetic power and intensity, the dates of the new and full moons, the dates of the planetary retrogrades, the dates of the 3 times when Pluto will conjunct the US Pluto, the date of the Jupiter Neptune opposition, the big energy punctuation points of 2022, because they're really, I developed these 6 words after I looked at all of that. And I was like, wow, we're going to need to be present. We're going to need to be connected. We're going to need to slow down. We're going to need to be able to open our hearts. So it's kind of the companion piece. We won't be able to remember all of that on a day-to-day basis, but the 6 words are easier to kind of hang on to. And then the rest is kind of like the map for when we might want to pull out our 6 words and remind ourselves.
True. So that's kind of the offer you're offering. That's a special offer through the group. It's allowed down below. And I know you also have a gift that you're giving.
Well, that is the gift that I'm giving.
That is the gift. That's right. And then there's a special offer that you're offering to the group, which is really exciting. And we get to be the first group that you're offering it through. So you've got to take advantage of it, because it's a limited time that the window's open for this special advantage. So go ahead. Will you tell us a little about it?
So I'm going to go ahead and tell what I told you. I wasn't intending to share this with everybody, but for some reason, Venus must be kind of nudging. This is a very busy time of year for astrologers. So like all the astrologers out there, I am just like, really busy. That's why those 6 words I think came through. And I was thinking, I just don't see how I can come up with something. I mean, I just don't have time. I just can't do it. And Venus herself, if you've been talking to the stars for 40 years, you know who it is and when they're. Venus herself showed up. She was like, oh, no, you are. And I'm like, I don't have time. She's like, I'm helping you. You're going to do it. And she really just downloaded this whole experience that just kind of flowed onto the page. Venus will be going retrograde. She's going on a deep inner journey to the heart from December 19th until January 28th. Terrible timing. As I said at first, this is bad timing. It's the holidays. And she's just like, do it. And if there's one thing you know, if you're an astrologer, when Venus says, I want you to do this, you do it. So I think the same is true, not just for me, but for all of us. Really listen to what your own Venus energy, how it responds, because I am offering led, I'm just the translator. I'm offering to guide you as we all journey together, take a journey to the heart, a 42-day journey with Venus, a journey of love, a journey of wisdom with Venus retrograde. We will, Venus, we hear a lot about Mercury retrograde, and we'll hear now and then about the outer planets going retrograde. A Venus retrograde is rare. Venus doesn't turn retrograde every year. She doesn't do this go to the heart journey, only every 18 months. And a Venus retrograde is little understood, honestly, but it's a very dynamic period and as women, we have a unique relationship with Venus. Although for any men who are in the audience, Venus is, she's powerful for all of us. But I do feel women have a unique and special relationship with Venus, just as men do with Mars. And Mars will be going retrograde at the end of the year. But a Venus retrograde is a very dynamic and transformative invitation into things that our culture does not value. That's part of the power of this retrograde. Venus is completing. She is turning herself into a seed of all she's learned since June of 2020. That's how she begins her retrograde, bringing a whole chapter of her life to completion. Nobody shows us how to do that. We're always just told to go, go, rush, rush. Venus has some important secrets to share with us. And then as she goes through her transition phase, she's letting go. She's releasing the old forms. She's dissolving her essence back into the universe. This is something she's showing us how we do it for us at any end or beginning that's significant, because she's also showing us how to receive our own desires so deeply that it creates something new. How do we become such a creative space? Sometimes it happens by grace, the way I was able, because I've been having this conversation for so long, to receive this gift from Venus. But we're all going to be receiving an even bigger gift from Venus in January. So we'll go through all the phases of her retrograde journey to the heart, and we'll prepare then. We'll be with her. This journey will include 4 times when we'll gather for presentations. You'll learn a lot about Venus and what she'll be doing for the rest of the year, but you're also going to learn a lot about your own Venus, depending on her sign, depending on the part of your birth chart she lives in, and depending on where she was in her journey when you were born. So you'll learn both important information about the power of love for all of us, the world-changing, reality-changing power of what and why and how we love. And you'll learn the times when that power is greatest, but you're also going to learn about your own Venus through some of the handouts and resource materials that will be available to you. So we'll have the 4 meetings. We'll also have a couple of just discussion questions. How's Venus showing up for you? Sometimes during a Venus retrograde, especially the first part, when we're letting go of the old, we can feel the sadness of letting go. It's not a bad thing. It's a sign. Venus is, this is going to be powerful, the new Venus, if we can feel her. So it's really good to have the markers so that we can hold the space. And in our discussion group, we'll talk about how it's happening for us and how we can respond. And then, you know, often when we take these online experiences, we're so busy, like we say, oh, I'll listen to the recording, and we just kind of forget, you know, because we've got things we have to do. And I think that will be true in this holiday season, but it's also true we will feel that Venus is retrograde, and it's something we've never experienced before because Venus has not been retrograde at the solstice and you know, the Christmas season or the Hanukkah season. She hasn't. We have only had one other time in our lives when Venus has been retrograde in December and January. So we're going to need, this is probably not going to be the stereotypical Christmas. And with the support of, if we're flowing with Venus, it can be one of the most profound holiday seasons of our lives. But it's not going to be the stereotypical cookie cutter Christmas. And so there will be especially during the holidays, I will be sending out very short, sometimes just a word, maybe a poem, maybe a song, maybe a picture of a rose, a Christmas rose, you know, just very simple reminders via email that Venus is with us. And this is a Christmas that's asking us to go into the heart. Whatever happens on the surface is gravy. The real mystery of this holiday season, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, whatever we call it, it's the mystery of within, of the inner, the mystery of the heart. So that's really the journey.
Wow. And I know that you're giving a special offer for everyone in this group. So you're going to be offering that. And what we're going to do is possibly put it in the intro part when we send out, well, when people have their promotional time. But for you, you're going to offer it through, because I know you're starting the program on December 16th. And so we will be in the middle of the retreat. And you're going to offer this special offer from as soon as the retreat's starting and through the 16th. You have to be enrolled and you'll get this special price of $297, I think you said.
Yes.
After that, it goes up to $350. And, you know, it may sound, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself. It's, again, are you worth this? How much are, you know, because of all the differences that are happening, like you said, nothing's going to be the same. This is not going to be the Christmas that's a cookie cutter Christmas. I love that because nothing's been like that for the past year and a half to 2 years. So it's just one more, and to have a community and to be learning this. I know for me, I'm taking this course. It sounds amazing. That this would be so profound for anyone who feels drawn to it. I just find this is an amazing gift. So
I feel like Venus is there to help us, not, you know, for so long we've been like, when things get back to normal, and we're beginning to realize, you know what, we're never going back to anything. And this Venus retrograde, I think, can be the game changer because she's showing us how to embrace what is, to see that actually this is happening for us. It's separating us, you know, from that desire to go back to normal, and supporting us in going forward to create a new world, not the one back. Yes, there are things we all miss about it, but that world that's not the new earth that we are moving into.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so powerful and that's so true, because who really wants to go back, to tell you the truth? It really wasn't, I mean, it all looks good, but now that we really are aware of things, it's not so great. It's time to go forward, and we're
Yeah.
going to have something even better coming forward. So I'm going to just ask you real quick, any final comment, because I know you've given us an amazing look at everything going on in the universe, and those 6 words were so fabulous. Any other key thing you want to tell us about 2022? Is there anything else you feel like is missing? I don't know if there is, because
Well, I do think 2022 is the year that we begin in a more serious and real way than ever to reimagine our lives and our world.
okay,
Um,
that's so
and
true. Perfect.
yeah,
Reimagine our new world. That is so, wow, I love it. It makes so much sense to me. It's really beautiful. So I want to thank all of the listeners who are joining with us today. I am so grateful that you're all here. We're so blessed to have you, and that you're participating and taking the time to fill your cups. And I hope that you feel that connection with everything you've heard from Marcia, because if you haven't, I don't know, you got to have some help there then, if you haven't felt what Marcia shared, because it was so beautiful, and so much the empowerment you've given us with the love that you've shared through that amazing, just who you are. It's just been just such a beautiful conversation today. And thank you so much, Marcia. And, so all of you, please, we'd love to hear if there's anything that's empowered you, if anything's happened that's opened a door that you want to share with us. We'll share our emails, and you can send it to me or to Marcia. We'd love hearing any feedback from you at all. And it does help us know that this experience has been, worthwhile for you as well. And Marcia, thank you so, so much for your limitless wisdom, your love for the stars and humanity, which shines through you and all you share. And I'm going to call you the cosmic guide and messenger of love of
mm,
our evolutionary journey, which you've guided us through today, through your unconditional love for all of us, the humanity and the cosmos, which you are totally enjoying, one with. So thank you again, Marcia. It was just absolutely fabulous. I am, so blessed and so wonderful that I've met you and connected with you.
I always love being with you, Janet. You're so special. It was beautiful to be with you.
Thank you again, Marcia. Yeah. So, as we harness this unconditional love of self and each other, and understand that we are all mirrors of each other, as above, so below, then we have empowered ourselves through love, and we get to move into the next level of consciousness for us all and claim our rightful place alongside our galactic brothers and sisters, and become citizens of the universe that we are meant to be. It's all accomplished through love. And thank you all for sharing your love today, and for you especially, Marcia, for sharing all that you did today. I am Yara Atlantica Miller, and I will see you in our next experience of Empowered by Love.